The Manuscript of Survival, Part 385. January 12, 2014. As the time continues to speed up, you will all at one time feel as if lost behind the veil, as it were, as you will all come to a point where the person you have thought yourself to be seems to vanish as if into thin air, and rightly so. For you are no more tangible than the very air itself, if you think of it, for you are indeed made of the same stuff as the air. Indeed, you are but a collection of particles hovering closely together, forming the body that you up until now have defined as you. But you are not that body. In fact, you are simply inhabiting this body, much like a small crustacean will find an empty shell to shelter within for a certain amount of time, until that shell becomes too restricted, and it will need to move on in order to grow some more. So too it is with you, as you are indeed something vast indeed, so that only a portion of you can inhabit the small corporeal form you call a human body. But now, much have changed, and so, a much larger portion of what can truly be defined as you, the real you that is, can now be housed within this said corporeal form, and as such, this time, there is no need to make a hasty escape from it in order to grow even further. For during this latest upgrading of your functional system, more room was indeed created, and so, more of you have already made its home there, alongside all of those bits and pieces of you that have been around for a while already. Remember, when you first entered this physical body, it was only a small portion of you that came in, devoid of so much that constitutes the real you, the essence of you if you will. But as you have allowed this process of reintegration to commence, you have by now accumulated a whole wealth of your former elusive parts, and as such, you have become far better adapted to perform all of the magical tricks that you came here to do. We use these rather informal words of magical tricks, but that is not in order to play down your part in this whole operation, far from it. Rather, we use these words in order to remind you all that what we are speaking of is that truly magical art of creating, the art that requires a light heart and a joyful mind, hence our rather light-minded choice of words. As we were saying, even if you have all come to a point where you are so much more than what you were only a short time ago, you will also come to a point where you will feel so much less than ever before. Because you will at one time or another find yourself as if dissolving into nothingness, like there is no more substance to you, and where your old and faithful physical body simply will feel as if it is falling apart into its singular components, no more connected than the clouds in the sky, a mere semblance of matter, but still, nothing more substantial than a wispy cloud in the afternoon sky. But at the same time, we can guarantee you all that you will never feel yourself more substantial as when you find yourself scattered into a billion little pieces, seemingly tossed up into the air, for the wind to blow about like nothing more than scraps of paper in a storm. For then, you will truly feel the real power of who you really are. For you are all, you are everywhere, and you are no thing at the same time. And as you see this, you will also see far, far beyond the limits you used to stare into every day, when you thought you were nothing more than a human, defined by the confines of that fleshy object, your own body. For as you find yourself falling apart, disintegrating into seeming nothingness, you will also find yourself stepping into the real you, the limitless you, the one that has no borders, and therefore, the one that has no end. No end to what you can achieve, no end to what you can be, no end to what you already are, and as such, this falling apart will quite simply be the coming together of the realization of your own true self, the self that is not inhibited by any concept of time or space or indeed matter. For then, you will simply know that you are, and no matter what you do or what you choose not to do in the upcoming period, it will have no impact on this, the very core of you. For it is indeed eternal, and it is indeed omnipresent, and it will always be thus. But remember, it is indeed up to each and every one of you if you choose to live out the remainder of the time span of this incarnation with that realization within your consciousness, or if you choose to forego that and simply continue to live your life as an ordinary citizen, a mere human, dictated by all of the whims and limitations of that flesh and blood you are encapsulated within, or if you choose to embrace all that you are, and set yourself free to roam that vastness of you while still residing within that complex and extremely accommodating physical vehicle in which you currently reside. For now, after this latest engrammed installment, you and that physical vehicle have become compatible, and indeed companionable, in a way that none of you have ever been before, and as such, you will be able to live out quite another life together, where you and your body in tandem will burst through any and all of the previous limitations put upon you both. But again, this will be your choice, and your choice only. So again we say, choose wisely, and do not think you have to do this or that to attain that freedom to truly choose what you want in this. For in this, you have already accomplished what you need in order to make that choice freely, and so, we leave it to you to make it as you wish. The Constant Companions. Channeled by Asia North. asianorth.wordpress.com